I'm not a believer in the paranormal. At least, I wasn't until I moved into that house. It was a fixer-upper, a century-old Victorian in a small town that was just within my budget. The previous owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Halloway, had passed away the year before. The realtor was eager to sell, mentioning that the house had a lot of history but needed a lot of work. I was up for the challenge. A fresh start, I thought. The first few nights were uneventful, just the usual creaks and groans of an old house settling. I ignored the drafts that seemed to come from nowhere, the odd cold spot on the stairs, the faint smell of something sweet and rotten that sometimes drifted through the hallways. All part of the charm, I told myself. Then I found the room. It wasn't on the floor plan, and I hadn't noticed it when I first moved in. A small door at the end of the second floor hallway, almost hidden behind a dusty old tapestry. The door was locked, but the key was still in the lock, rusted and stiff. After some effort, I got it open. The room was tiny, more like a large closet than anything else. It was empty except for a wooden box in the center of the floor, covered in a thick layer of dust. The box was intricately carved, old but sturdy, and latched shut. Something about it made my skin crawl, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. Inside were dozens of small, delicate objects. They looked like children's toys. Wooden dolls, tin soldiers, a tiny rocking horse, a toy drum, a raggedy teddy bear, each one more worn than the last. I picked up the teddy bear, noticing how its fur was matted and stiff, almost like it had been soaked in something and left to dry. As I turned it over in my hands, I saw a name stitched into the fabric. Emily. That's when the whispers started. At first, I thought it was the wind, a faint, almost imperceptible sound like someone speaking just out of earshot. But as the days passed, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They came at all hours, a chorus of voices, all speaking at once, too fast to understand. I tried to ignore them, but it was impossible. They were in every room, every corner of the house. I started hearing them even when I was outside, far away from the house. They followed me. One night, after a particularly restless sleep, I woke to find the wooden box at the foot of my bed. I was sure I had left it in the room, locked up tight. But there it was, the lid slightly ajar. Inside, the toys had changed positions. The teddy bear was now lying on top, its button eyes staring blankly at me. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized the whispers were louder than ever. They were calling out names: Emily, Jack, Sophie, Thomas. Each name was followed by a soft, wet sound, like something being dragged across the floor. The noise grew closer, the whispers more frantic, and then I saw them. Small figures, barely visible in the darkness, crawling towards me. Their bodies were twisted, broken, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. I recognized them from the toys in the box. They were the toys. I bolted out of bed and ran for the door, but it slammed shut before I could reach it. The figures were closer now, their tiny hands grasping at my ankles, pulling me down. The whispers had turned into screams. I grabbed the box, desperate to do something, anything. As I lifted it, the lid fell open, revealing a new toy inside. It was me, a small wooden figure, dressed in the same clothes I was wearing, with a face that was unmistakably mine. The eyes were wide with fear, the mouth open in a silent scream. I threw the box across the room, but it didn't matter. The figures were on me, dragging me down into the darkness. The last thing I saw before everything went black was the teddy bear, its stitched mouth twisted into a smile. When they found me the next morning, I was huddled in a corner of the room, clutching the wooden box. The doctors say I've been in shock, that I'll get better in time, but they don't hear the whispers. They don't see the figures that crawl out of the shadows every night. I can't leave this place. The box won't let me. I've become part of the collection.